Potentially see Trump and Biden as the same, different issues. But do you really believe that when people talk about the threat to democracy that Trump poses, do you really think that that is an equal evil to Biden?
I mean, listen, I can make the argument that President Biden is a much worse threat to democracy. And the reason for that is President Biden is the first candidate in history, the first president in history that has used the federal agencies to censor political speech, so to censor his opponent. I can say that because I just won a case in the Federal Court of Appeals and now before the Supreme Court. It shows that he started censoring not just me. 37 hours after he took the oath of office, he was censoring me. No president in the country has ever done that. The greatest threat to democracy is not somebody who questions election returns, but a president of the United States who used the power of his office to force the social media companies, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to open a portal and give access to that portal to the FBI, to the CIA, to the IRS, to CISA, to NIH, to censor his political critics.
And, I think that says everything you need to know about this administration, right? How corrupt they truly are and how little they believe in their own policies, right? Because this is the thing. And I know we just kind of jumped into it, this video, but obviously it's pretty self-explanatory what we're talking about here. But this is the thing. If you truly believe in your policies and that your policies are good for the people of America, you shouldn't feel the need to censor your political opponents. Because you know that my policies are great, so people are going to vote for me and support me no matter what my political opponent says, because my policies are great. And they're helping everyone. The censoring of the political opponents speaks to a level of desperation, and it speaks to you truly knowing and understanding that what you are trying to do isn't going to be good for the people that you say it's going to be good for. He knew that, That's just my opinion on it. Y'all can let me know what you think about it in the comment section, but let's continue.
President Biden, for the first president in history, to use his power over the Secret Service to deny Secret Service protection to one of his political opponents for political reasons. He's weaponizing the federal agencies. Those are really critical threats to democracy.
Donald Trump, of course, tried to overturn a free and fair election. He tried to overturn one, right? He's still fighting in court.
Yes.
How is that? Hold
on. You mean overturn by asking some questions? So did Stacey Abrams try to overturn an election? Because she argued. Did Hillary Clinton? She did too. So like this whole, and you'll see that throughout this video clip, she keeps trying to go back to Trump. Oh, well, but Trump, because of course you can't say Biden's actually a threat to democracy. You can't say that. That's our line. You can't say that our guy is actually a threat. No, it's actually Trump. She keeps trying to throw Trump back into the equation. Watch.
Not a threat to democracy.
Well, I think that is a threat to democracy. If him trying to overthrow the election clearly is a threat to democracy. But the question was, who is a worse threat to democracy? And what I would say is, I'm not going to answer that question, but I can argue that President Biden is, because the First Amendment, Aaron, is the most important. Adams and Hamilton and Madison said, we put the guarantee of freedom of expression in the First Amendment because all of our other constitutional rights depend on it. If you have a government that can silence its opponent, it has license for any atrocity.
So just to be clear, you're saying you could make an argument that President Biden is a worse threat to democracy than Donald Trump. That's what you just said.
But who else has ever tried to send, what president in history has ever tried to censor political opponents? What president has weaponized the federal agency? When my father came into the Justice Department, the first week he was there, he got all of the branch and division attorneys together, and he said, whatever we do, we are not going to use the power of the Justice Department for
Well, Trump,
political
of course,
reasons.
has said that he
and
would
what
do
we're
that.
seeing is,
He has said that he would
of course,
do that.
and that is reprehensible.
And he is the only president.
Notice she's not refuting what he's saying about Biden. She has yet to say, well, no, Biden isn't trying to silence political opponents. She just keeps trying to skip over that and just say, well, Trump, but Trump, but Trump. And it's so obvious what's going on here, right? She knows that RFK Jr. isn't lying, right? But she still has to make Trump look like the bad guy in the equation, right? So she keeps trying to rope Trump back into this whole thing when, hey, Trump ain't got nothing to do with this conversation, okay?
Who's tried to overthrow the results of an election.
Well, you know what? Let me say something about that. I'm not going to defend President Trump on that. That was appalling. And there's many things that President Trump has done that are appalling. But in 2001, we had an election stolen in this country during the Bush-Gore election. In 2004, I wrote an award-winning article for Rolling Stone that showed how that election was stolen from John Kerry. So I don't think, and most Americans agree with me about 2001, that it was a stolen election from the Democratic Party candidate. So I don't think people who say that the election is stolen, not that we shouldn't make pariahs of those people. We shouldn't demonize them. We shouldn't vilify them. What we should be doing is saying, let's all get together, Republicans and Democrats, and fix the election system so that it cannot be fixed, so that we're the exemplary democracy of the world. We ought to, Las Vegas, let me tell you this, Las Vegas is built on machines that can count and never make mistakes. Can't we make an election machine, and can't we have an electoral process that every American says whatever happens?
Okay, hold on.
It can't be fixed.
I understand that we want elections to be as perfect as they possibly can be,
Yeah.
and one should not use the fact that the election was not stolen and was not cheated to not try to perfect it. I understand that distinction, but when you do as you're doing, and you open the door to, well, we want every machine. You're opening the door to people who can say, well, then that's exactly what I'm saying. The machines miscounted, the machines did this, but they didn't. Every single analysis has shown that did not happen, right? As you know. Do you worry that you're opening the door for people to believe this? Look at the Republican primary voters and that they believe.
I'm not worried. I don't worry about how people might misinterpret my words. What I said, I mean, and I'm careful about how I use language. So I'm not saying that election was that there was cheating. I've never said that. What I've said is that there are problems, particularly, Aaron, if you don't have paper ballots. The election machines can be fixed in various ways, and that's just a fact.
But we know Democrats will never do that. We know they won't. If Democrats are so confident, okay, why not do basically what he's saying, have some paper ballots, right? And we ensure that everything is on the up and up, 100%, 1,000%, so that nobody in this country feels like they were slighted in any type of way come November. What's wrong with that? Right? What is wrong with requiring an ID to verify who you are? Of course, Democrats would say, well, that makes it more difficult for black people. And it's just like, hold on, wait. Why does it make it more difficult for me? What, you think I'm stupid? We all know they actually do. That's why they say stuff like that. They make it seem and sound as if black people aren't capable of having an ID or obtaining an ID, or we're too poor to figure out how to get to the place we need to go to in order to get an ID, or we can't buy one because we're too poor. You know, that's their narrative. That's what Democrats think of us as black people, and it's shameful. So back to securing everything. We should require. I mean, it should be a requirement to have an ID. You need an ID to buy alcohol. You need an ID to drive a vehicle. Right? You need an ID for an array of different things, but for arguably the most important thing in this country, which is voting. Oh, no, it's fine. No, that's actually racist if you require an ID. So is it racist when the person at the liquor store asks a black person for their ID? Is that racist? Is it when a cop pulls over a black person and asks a black person for their ID? Is that too? Like, should cops not be asking black people for their ID? Should liquor store clerks not be asking black people for their IDs? You know, like that whole argument is absolutely foolish, right? And it should be a single day. One single day should be a national holiday. Everyone has their time. Has time allowed to them to go and participate. That should be the way it is. Paper ballots. I don't care where you work, what job you do, wherever. Everyone is allowed. I don't know. What do you guys think is a proper time slot? 3 hours. Everyone is allowed 3 hours. You know, so if you work second shift or something. And, you know, it's during, you get a 3 hour break at some point, or 2 hour break, however long, right? We could argue time frame. You get a 2 hour break somewhere in the day, in your work day, where you are allowed to leave work and go vote. After your 2 hours, you're expected to be back at work. Simple. Does anybody see a problem with that? You know, maybe there is. I don't know. Obviously, that creates a little bit of a headache because you're going to have to move things around and, you know, make sure people are covering, you know, hey, this person gets 2 hours here, but this person gets their 2 hours here. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's going to have to be some finagling in terms of schedulers, people who, you know, put together people's schedules at work, but it could be done. It could be done, most definitely. Especially if it's a national holiday. Yeah, man, I think that you would get rid of all of the questions. But of course, Democrats don't want to do that. And we all know why. Y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. And man, hey, I'm cheering RFK Jr. on. I am. Because the polling has shown that he is pulling more Democrats than he is Republicans. Remember, they tried to tell us, oh, he's pulling from Republicans. No, he's not. Republicans aren't voting for RFK Jr. He's a Democrat who was forced to run as an independent. Why would a Republican vote for a Democrat? That just doesn't even make any sense. And he picked a far left Democrat as his running mate. So, yeah, he's definitely going to be pulling from Democrats. So, I'm gonna cheer him on. I'm gonna do what Democrats did with Nikki Haley. I'm gonna cheer him on for now, but come November, that support is out the window. But for now, let's go RFK, baby. Pull some more Democrats away from Joe Biden. Come on, baby. Shout out to RFK Jr., man. Peace and love. I'm out.